Yes, Trump would have a very different approach to the economy, a much better one. I think that's clear, although I know the libs are arguing that till they're blue in the face. Blue in the face. See what I did there? But sure enough, there's no way to separate that from COVID response as well, and the future of how the two different political parties, two different candidates in this case, would deal with COVID. And here's what the president's trying to remind everybody. Play 10.
If you vote for Biden, it means no kids in school, no graduations, no weddings, no Thanksgiving, no Christmas, and no 4th of July together. Other than that, you have a wonderful life.
It's true. I mean, in essence, not on the specifics, but it does mean schools will continue to be shut down. You won't be able to have graduations. The Democrats are completely devoted to all these ideas, and they don't want it to change anytime soon. They've created an atmosphere of fear, and now we all have to live in it. They've created an irrational intolerance for any risk whatsoever, including for those who are at very low risk. I mean, when this disease was spreading in the early days in New York City, and we were worse hit by it than anywhere else, as you know, I was on the subway 4 times a day. And in the most crowded places, I was in bars and restaurants. I mean, I was basically walking around begging to get COVID. I didn't know it at the time. And if they would let me, I would go back to most of that activity tomorrow, knowing that I could get the disease and knowing that my immunity, once I beat it, assuming I beat it, which I'm willing to roll the dice on that, knowing that it wouldn't last forever, but I think it would last long enough that we'd be in better shape by the next time around. I'd have to worry about it, if at all. But this is where we are in the country right now. You can either have a Biden administration that has had all these people in the media and all these left-wing activists just constantly pushing the panic porn stuff, telling us, oh, remember there was a, what was it, the Kawasaki disease for kids? We were supposed to be so worried about that tied into COVID. This rare disorder, there was nothing there, it all disappeared. And, long COVID, people are saying that, oh, you never really get better. And then there's all this stuff, oh, maybe your lungs are always destroyed and ruined. And they keep running these stories and stories and stories. There's really very little follow-up to it. And what they should be doing is looking at things like remdesivir. Does it really work? Most recent studies say no. But remember, remdesivir good, hydroxychloroquine bad. That's what we were told. Remdesivir got approved, even though it really doesn't do very much. And they've done big trials of it now, but it still got approved. This is largely just driven by perception. They think that might shorten, I think in 30% of people, it maybe shortened their stay in the hospital by a few days, they think. But how do they know people weren't just getting better anyway? It's very, very skimpy evidence for remdesivir being a really major tool against this. Not a cure, but a tool against this. Probably not even as good as Tamiflu against the flu. And as somebody who's had the flu a couple times and remembers, you can take Tamiflu, but a lot of doctors will say, you might get better a day or two sooner, but, I wouldn't worry about it. Just get a lot of rest, take good care of yourself, you'll be okay. That's often the approach. But so you have the Trump version of how we're going to deal with this, which is reopening things. Here, the White House Press Secretary Kelly McEnany has also laid this out so that everyone's very clear on it. Play 15.
Look, the American people have a very clear choice when it comes to COVID. You can vote on Joe Biden, where you will be locked down. Your schools will be closed. Your churches will be closed. You won't have social gatherings. It will be a lockdown versus President Trump, where we are safely reopening this country. Americans deserve jobs. They deserve freedom. Joe Biden's modeling his strategy, which is lockdown in the basement. But this president has surged therapeutics and testing and a vaccine in record time. We can control this, but at the same time, we can open this country and not lock down like Joe Biden will do.
Amen. Notice the Biden plan for reopen, for Build Back Better, is always, I'm going to listen to the scientists. I'm going to listen to them, man. No joke. No joke. Biden loves to say that. He's got these pseudo-folksy phrases that he's just honed over decades of spewing political bullcrap to get elected to office and do very little once he's there. One of his favorites was, no joke. I'm not kidding. No joke. Oh, wow. Joe, it's like you're It's like you've rolled up your work shirt and you're sitting next to me at the little kitchen table and just telling me about the hard day's work, riding the choo-choo with your lunch pail. Give me a break. But he's out there telling everybody they'll listen to the experts and wear a mask. Their only strategy is wear a mask and be afraid. That's it. They have nothing else. Listen to the experts. What do the experts tell us? Avoid people and wear masks. That's what the experts. There's always this pretense, this make-believe approach from Biden and the media and the Democrats that if only Trump would listen to the geniuses out there who are telling him what to do, everything would be better. Okay, what are those geniuses saying? What is Fauci saying? What's Dr. Fauci telling you what to do? Wear a mask. Okay, we're wearing masks. We're wearing masks. Virus is still surging, but we're wearing our masks. You know what they're going to say in 2 or 3 months when there are going to be a lot more cases of this? I think the death rate will be considerably lower than it was when it hit us the first time around, but there'll be a lot more cases of this. You know what they're going to say? We're not wearing masks enough. I'm going to ask you this question. Do you think it's ever possible to wear masks enough, according to people for whom the only real response to this virus and the only thing we have to do is to wear masks? You think they'll ever admit that maybe that's not enough, not even close to enough? They will not. I can tell you that right now. But Joe Biden, he's got a fever, and the only prescription is more mask wearing. Play 18.
And we discussed again the vital importance of wearing masks, of protecting yourself, protecting your neighbor, and to save around 100,000 lives in the months ahead between now and just after the first of the year. This is not political. It's patriotic. Wearing a mask. Wear one, period.
Wear one, period. He also likes to do that. No joke, folks. No joke, period. Wow, that's really impressive stuff, Joe Biden. Yeah, wearing a mask. You know where they wear masks and have mask mandates? Major European countries like Italy and Spain, where they have huge spikes in cases right now and are going through just straight up stay-at-home order lockdowns. That's what they're heading for, if they're not there already. They've been wearing masks. But I thought that's all we had to do. Now they'll come up with some theory. Oh, it's because of young people in the summertime Really? That's what it's because of? Long indoor exposure to an infected person is how this gets spread. We all know that. So unless you're going to avoid being indoors with other human beings, you're probably going to be exposed to this at some point if you have not been already. That's where we are. This idea that if we all just wear masks, we're going to be able to beat this thing, that was never the promise in the beginning. It was never, guys, just wear masks. This thing will go away in 2 weeks. Just wear masks. In 60 days, we'll be done. Maybe we could have done that. Maybe we would have, been willing to give that a shot. But no, instead, it's always, we're not doing it enough. We're not doing it enough. Here's the worst. I put up a poll today on Twitter, and much to my surprise, the poll was about whether or not Trump should. Oh, sorry, who should Trump, when he wins re-election, the first person he should fire is, and the options were Fauci and Christopher Wray, the FBI director. And so the top infectious disease specialist in the federal government, or the top federal investigator, FBI guy, Christopher Wray. About 80% of the tens of thousands of people who replied to that thought Wray should be the first person to be fired. And I got to tell you, I think it should be the Fauci. I think that Fauci is a much better choice for getting the boot. Here he is. Remember, listen to the experts. Listen to the experts. I can assure you we're going to be listening to the experts, and it's not going to work, and then they're going to blame us. And when I say us, they're going to blame Trump supporters. The worst results for COVID are in blue, very, very blue places in America. But the reason we still have COVID is because of Trump and Republicans somehow. Isn't that a fascinating cognitive dissonance that they have just embraced? Here's the Fauci. Just telling you, look, it's really important you listen to him because he's out there letting you know it's going to get worse. things are gonna get terrible. We're never gonna be done with this thing. You're probably gonna wear masks and social distance and have no fun and no life all next year. Maybe another year after that. I'm not gonna say it's not gonna be at least 3 years, but it could be 3. It could be 10, honestly. But you got to do everything I say. But at least for 3 years, maybe 2, you're gonna have to not see grandma or your mom and dad or have any time with loved ones in an enclosed space. You know, just be outside with them from 50 feet away, no hugs. But this is good because you know if you get this, there's like a 1 in 10,000 chance you could die. So you can't take that risk. No one's allowed to take that risk. That's pretty much Fauci for you. Here he is, 13.
This is going to get worse because we're going more into a colder season as we get through the fall and into the winter. With the holiday season going, we've got to do something different. We can't just let this happen. We're going to have many more hospitalizations, and that will inevitably lead to more deaths. So this is an untenable situation.
Untenable situation in the winter. Okay. Does everybody remember what happened in March? Lockdown. Stay-at-home orders. Businesses closed. Everyone terrified, staying in their homes. Did this go away in 60 days? No, it actually shot up like I was going to say stock market crash. That's the wrong direction, but jumped up like a tidal wave. There we go. And now we pretend like if we just do what we did that time, what exactly? Oh, even if it doesn't seem like it's working, it would have been worse. That's the other standard. They have created an unfalsifiable approach to COVID-19. Do what we say. When it doesn't really work, we'll say you either didn't do it well enough or it would have been much worse. Gee. Maybe also what they're telling us just doesn't work, but you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed. When I say doesn't work, maybe it delays the spread by some percentile or some factor, but delaying the spread doesn't actually, if you're looking at it on a public health, from a 30,000 foot view, then what are you putting yourself through all this for? You know, the UK, I think the latest data is that they think they've had a 70% increase in suicides. And a lot of people tragically commit suicide in America every year. UK thinks they've had a 70% increase. That's the latest data that I saw. But don't worry. Oh, and all the cancers that they're finding even in Canada now, where they haven't had as bad a time with COVID as we have, but inoperable cancers that could have been identified earlier, but people weren't going. But don't worry about any of those costs. Be scared. Listen to Fauci. Do what he says, or else. We're going to get the or else anyway. That's what I'm telling you. There's no future in which Fauci says, "Great job, everybody. You listen to me. We didn't have terrible things with the virus." No, it's going to get bad. It's not going to be as bad as it was. And he's going to say, keep doing the annoying, stupid things you don't want to do. Keep masking up in between bites of food. And if you don't, and it's because you haven't done that we've had the cases that we've had. When in reality, the public health authorities in this country are just impotent when it comes to doing anything about this. They can't do anything. They don't really have an answer. Freezing society in place was considered too crazy and too destructive for a much worse disease when they were modeling this out in the past than what we currently have. But that's really effectively the only answer they can give you. The more open we are, the more people come into contact with each other, just like a common cold, the more this is going to spread. That is just what's going to happen. They can try to say that mitigation. It's not going to stop it. It hasn't stopped it before. But Fauci wants a national mask mandate, and I want to start screaming F-bombs on the radio when he says this stuff. Play 14. Play clip 14.
You're using the word mandating masks. Yes, if that works, let's do it. I don't think it's going to happen nationally.
Why?
If it doesn't happen nationally, the reason is because it may not come from the White House to do it.
The reason we won't have a national mask mandate is because of the bad Trump guy, but I'm not political. Here's something for you to think about. Fauci has complained about being used in Trump ads. Fauci has not complained about the fact that he is called out by name by Biden, including on Biden's website, as the guy he'll listen to, clearly politicizing his advice on this. But the Democrat is fine. It's Trump that he's got a problem with. But he's not political. Not political. Sure he isn't. Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.